Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Monday, the 13th of December. It was good to be back. I had a wonderful break. Went down to visit a friend who lives halfway between Mullelaan and Komatipoort. And while we were down there, we were able to participate in and preach and do music in the carol services they have. And they were both blessed events. Restricted by COVID, like we are, but God is present nonetheless. And I saw God in the environment. The Lowveld is green and looking fantastic. Last time I was down there, it was showing the stress of drought. At the moment, it is green and lush. And my friend said that it has rained virtually every day. Last year, there was virtually no lawn at all in their garden. This year, there's a lawn growing that needs to be cut every 3 days or so. But that too is a blessing. And walking around the town, just looking at the trees and the flowers and the bird life that seems to be there in abundance, really had an impression of the blessing of God on that place. And today, as we read through Robert Murray McShane's readings, Revelation chapter 4 looks at the throne room of God. And we're told there are 24 elders that bow down before him. They lay their thrones, their crowns before the throne of God, and they say, "You are worthy, our Lord and God, to receive glory and honor and power, for you created all things, and by your will they were created and have their being." And that struck me. By your will they were created and have their being. We depend on God's will for our continued existence. And therefore we see the blessing of God in the Lowveld and see this is part of the will of God. And we look at the stars of the sky and know that they are there because of the will of God. They could disappear and it wouldn't affect God at all. But if God were to disappear or turn his mind from them or retract his will, they would disappear in an instant. They exist because of the will of God. And that is an encouragement. Every single breath we draw by the will of God. He allows us and enables us to continue our existence. By your will they were created and have their being. We have our being because of the will of God. And so at times it looks like we are in his blessing, and I look at the Lowveld and I see that wonderfully there. But at times things aren't going so well, and there is drought, and the stuff isn't growing, and it's dusty and dry. But that too exists by the will of God. And therefore we can be encouraged when things are going well or when we're struggling. We have our existence by the will of God. And so every breath we draw is a gift from him. And we live out day by day by his will, that we may glorify him in everything we do. So be encouraged that God has granted you this breath that you draw now, and trust in him.